We're going to bring in our guest now, Jamaal Finkley, who is president of the Hollywood Post Network, also co-founder and CEO of BlackTree TV. Jamaal joins me from a warm studio elsewhere in Los Angeles, so lucky you. But first of all, Jamaal, we could talk about all day about the moral cost to Hollywood, but this place is interested in money. That's what makes it go round. Financially, what has Time's Up, what has Me Too done to the industry here?
Well, it's done a lot. I mean, we've seen the biggest kind of black eye come with Kevin Spacey and the House of Cards, and that series having to stop production before restarting production. And I mean, it was at a cost of $39 million to Netflix, and there's been more productions. I mean, Disaster Artist, which put a lot of money into their Oscar campaign, actually, you know, James Franco being a bruised candidate because of his connection to Me Too and Time's Up has cost them money. And you go down the line from Ridley Scott's All the Money in the World movie, where he had to actually recast Christopher Plummer and Kevin Spacey's role at the last minute over Thanksgiving holidays to release this movie, and that was at a cost to the studio. So there's very real immediate cost when things like that happens, and there's also like the insurance agencies that have to insure these pictures that are now having to increase premiums and things to account for these type of behaviors that are disrupting productions.
When you look at the industry here in general, I mean, the Academy has a very visible female leader in Cheryl Boone Isaacs, you know, a very well-known female face, but you could probably name on one, maybe two hands, the number of really powerful female executives that have a high profile. Is that going to change, do you think, or is it in the process of changing already?
Yeah, I think it's already in the process of changing. I mean, ironically, this movement, started by Tarana Burke, has already seen some of the effects. I mean, I think Cheryl Boone Isaacs was part of that groundswell of just a change movement, and when she announced that there would be changes to Academy members, I think we've seen the results of that in the types of films that people are trying to make, the budgets that they're putting behind films. Ava DuVernay, a filmmaker who I was talking to earlier this morning for her new film from Disney, A Wrinkle in Time, is doing it with over $100 million budget, which has rarely been done in film for women at all, and it's the first time it's been done for African American women. So I think things like that, the new Star Wars series that's coming to TV, there's been a lot of petitions and calls for there to be more female writers included in creating these universes. So I think we're seeing a lot of effects from studios just being aware that there should be more different faces in the room than there's been when making some of these decisions.
What's interesting is Hollywood is kind of like this bubble, isn't it? It's kind of insular looking a lot of the time, inward looking. And yet this movement, Me Too and Time's Up, has had ramifications outside the movie industry. Just give us a sense of what this has meant for like insurance companies, for example, and other industries.
Yeah, it's meant that the studios, the films that are coming with bigger risk. I mean, we've seen tragic accidents where we've had stunt actors be injured or even killed on sets. But this movement has also presented a new threat to productions, and the insurance agencies are now having to ensure that the picture, the filmmakers, the producers involved won't lose their money because there's an actor that's been involved that may have done something that wasn't brought to light until the production was already done. So things like that have actually cost, filmmakers, a lot of money. And even films that are coming out, people point at Weinstein, but there's also Quentin Tarantino's movie coming out on Sony on Marilyn Manson was in jeopardy of not being greenlit because of recent allegations by Uma Thurman. So we're seeing, like, whether it's the allegations and the actions that are having to follow, or just the precautions that the studios are now taking and making sure that they're trying to have more voices in the room to be more diverse, so that the decisions aren't being made from a point of being naive, and that they're at least being represented by a diverse group of people making those decisions.
There was a period a couple of months ago when it felt like we were hearing another name every few days, every few weeks, another well-known name being involved in these whole allegations. Is there a sense that Hollywood can draw a line under this, while at any moment somebody else could come forward and say, hey, I was also targeted by such and such a person?
Well, we have to see what the staying power is going to be. I mean, these issues aren't new to Hollywood. People have been well aware of Roman Polanski and Woody Allen's allegations from years ago, whether it be child molestation or sexual harassment or unequal pay. These aren't new things. I think what's happened is that the movements, that social movements, have caught fire. And Tarana Burke, who had started the Me Too movement years ago from a hashtag movement, I think people are looking for ways to express their frustration, their want for change, their vision for a new world going forward. And I think all these movements are just getting a lot of gas and fire under them, and people are starting to follow through with them. So I mean, Me Too, Time's Up. We're not sure what's going to be next, but I think what is happening is that everybody has to be more aware and know that the status quo is not going to be good enough going forward.
All right, Jamaal Finkley, thank you very much for your time. Thanks for joining us here from the warmth of that studio.